and welcome to another edition of Issues with Jide. Here we talk about actions and inactions of those who shape our political and national landscape and how these impact us positively or otherwise. I'm Ibrahim Shita. Today on the show, Goodluck Jonathan under pressure to tackle Tinubu. In the course of the program, we take your questions, but first, subscribe to our YouTube channel and drop your questions in the comment section. It's important to mention that we can only read comments with human names and the ones based on the subject matter. I have joining me via Zoom, the master himself, Babajide Kolade Otitoju. Good to see you, BKO, this evening.
Good evening, Ibrahim. Good to do this with you again today as we look at the pressure on Goodluck Jonathan to contest against President Tinubu on the platform of the PDP in 2027.
Absolutely. In recent times, we've been hearing in the news, some insinuations that former President Goodluck Jonathan can throw in his own gauntlets or probably throw in the towel in joining the race for the 2027 presidential election. Because some believe in the PDP quarter, believe that he only has, statutorily one term to run for president, and which might eventually help the North in returning the power back to that region. What is your analysis, or what do you see, regarding this this insinuation that former President Goodluck Jonathan might want to join the race come 2027?
Well, it all depends on how they are able to convince him to join the race. Will they be able to convince him? That is the question. In 2022, concerted efforts were made to draft former President Goodluck Jonathan into the race. Of course, it didn't work. At that time, many of the people who wanted him to contest on the platform of the APC. This time around, those who want Goodluck Jonathan to contest are largely from the PDP. So it's a kind of role reversal. In 2022, the people who wanted to draft him into the race were from the APC. They wanted him to succeed former President Muhammadu Buhari. But this time around, President Tinubu is on the saddle. Now, those who want Jonathan to contest, they are actually people in the PDP. They are supporters of the PDP, people who are very nostalgic about Goodluck Jonathan's time as president, when Nigeria enjoyed a lot of prosperity. We were the second fastest growing economy in the world after China. And people still have fond memories of that era. As far as they are concerned, Goodluck Jonathan is the person who can actually make good things happen for Nigerians, put an end to the hunger that is going on in the country, put an end to the insecurity that our people are facing. So, and to add fire to the fuel, Sule Lamido, former governor of Jigawa State, former Minister of Foreign Affairs, joined the bandwagon when he said, if the PDP had indeed made up its mind to zone the presidency to the south, because at the end of their NEC meeting about 2 weeks ago, it was decided that power should go to the south. So PDP leaders decided that presidency should be zoned to the south. So, seeing that that is the case, Sule Lamido said that if indeed the leaders of the PDP had made up their minds to zone the presidency to southern Nigeria, there is nobody stronger than Goodluck Jonathan, to be the standard bearer of the party, to be the presidential candidate of the party. Because of his pedigree, he's been president. Even if some of them have been governors or ministers, there is no one with Goodluck Jonathan's pedigree because he was president for 6 years. So that is the point. I think that the renewed call for Jonathan to throw his, yes, that is the thing. The decision of the neck of the PDP to zone the presidency to southern Nigeria has now reinforced agitation for Goodluck Jonathan to throw his hat in the ring and contest the presidency against Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Many of them believe that Jonathan will get the support of the North, and the North knows that after those 4 years, Jonathan will not be able to contest, will be ineligible to contest after 4 years. But if another Southerner picks the ticket and eventually wins, that Southerner would be interested in doing 2 terms. I don't think that people believe Peter Obi when he says that he's going to do 1 term, because even Goodluck Jonathan promised not to contest in 2015 for his 2nd term. He said he will just do the 4 years and go. I still have the video. It was the former governor of Katsina State, Ibrahim Shema, who read the communique where the northern leaders said, okay, we are going to support you in this 2011 election on condition that you will not contest in 2015 for another term. And Jonathan agreed. So people now know that when politicians tell you they are going to do 1 term, it makes sense to not believe them, because politicians make pledges that they don't honor. So, but in the case of Goodluck Jonathan, he is statutorily not permitted to contest another term, having been president between 2011 and 2015. That's 1 full term. So he cannot contest again in 2031 if he wins the presidency. So they want a situation in which somebody steps in and does only 1 term so that power can return to the North. But if a Southerner who is coming as a new broom, as a clean slate, takes power, he would want to do 2 terms because he would think that he cannot achieve all of his goals in just 4 years. 4 years is not such a long time in politics, as people can see. There are goals that you set for yourself and you need time. For example, you cannot finish the Badagry Sokoto Expressway within 2 years. You cannot finish the
Coastal Highway.
Lagos Calabar Coastal Road within 2 years. You need time. You need time for these things for these projects to be put to bed. So that is the
Yeah.
thing. So it has an advantage. And that's why people are saying that the North will be willing to give him that chance. They've worked with him before. They know that he's a listener, and he had a good record. He had a good record as
Yeah.
president. So this is
Right.
the issue. But You know also that there are those who continue to argue that he does not have the constitutional power um,
Run for
to
election.
contest again. This issue had been there in 2015. The matter had to go to court, and the courts, as well as the Court of Appeal, permitted Goodluck Jonathan to contest in that election. The Court of Appeal verdict was not countermanded by the highest court in the land. So, as far as lawyers are concerned, a good number of lawyers, Goodluck Jonathan is permitted to contest the presidential election if he wants to contest, and that there's no law banning him. The 2018 law that people refer to, that is section, the amendment, the 16th amendment to the Act, which is section 133, subsection 3, says a person who was sworn in as president to complete the term for which another person was elected as president should not be elected for such office for more than a single term. Now, somebody like the governor of Ondo State cannot contest for another term. He cannot contest for another term as governor because he completed um, Akredolu's first term and then he came in. So he's only going to do one term. Was elected and he was elected for one term only. He's not permitted to do it, to contest again. Falana had argued back then that Jonathan will spend cumulatively 9 years in office if he were permitted to contest again, arguing that a person is constitutionally empowered or permitted to spend just 8 years in office. You know, so but this section 137 of section 3 that some of these people are relying on was signed into law in 2018, 3 years after Jonathan left office. So naturally, it is not expected that the the that particular alteration to the constitution will be. Oh, it is not expected that that alteration to the constitution will be binding on him because he is just some people trying to reach me. So,
That's right.
he cannot. People can't expect that a law that came into being 3 years after he left office will be used against him. And of course, there is a federal high court ruling obtained in
Yeah.
Bayelsa State, you know, in the days leading to the 2023 presidential election, which has not been set aside by any court. So since it has not been set aside by any court, people can be assured that Jonathan is permitted by the laws of the land and by the judgments of the Court of Appeal as well as the High Court to contest if he wants to. I think
That's
that
right.
basically that is it. There are many Nigerians who are nostalgic about the Jonathan era, and they believe that the APC government over the years had calumnized him unnecessarily. Yet Nigerians remember his time for the prosperity that the country enjoyed, despite
Yeah,
all
that's
of
right.
the negativity against him. So that's why it is it is gaining some level of traction. I think that
Mm.
PDP is doing its best to woo its former members, believing that if it can get a very strong candidate, it stands a chance. You can see that they also approached Peter Obi. You know, they also offered their platform to Peter Obi to come and contest. Peter Obi will not get the ADC ticket. There's no way that an Atiku will use his resources, will mobilize his people for a party only to surrender the mandate of the party
The
to
ticket.
someone else. It's not going to happen. As I've said before, Peter Obi's best chance is to remain in his Labour Party. And
Labour Party.
from what happened in the course of the week, just as I predicted, ultimately the mainstream Labour Party, the faction that has most of the mainstream of Labour Party is the faction that is most likely going to be uh, recognized by INEC and even the courts. And if that happens, then Obi will have no rival in the real sense of it for the ticket of the party because
Yeah.
Obi is not going to find it comfortable um, contesting the primaries of the party against maybe some people who have capacity to spend millions of dollars that he is not known to want to do.
All right, Mikael, now let's look at some of the comments before I take my next question. So Adele B. Walker says, Jonathan may not be perfect, but his calm leadership style is exactly what Nigeria needs right now. We're tired of the constant political heat. Tunde Balogun says, we can't keep recycling leaders. Jonathan already had his chance and left us with security and corruption problems. Abiba Yusuf says, dragging Jonathan back into politics feels like desperation. Nigeria needs fresh hands and new ideas. Emeka Ume says the numbers don't lie. Unless Jonathan can capture a clear northern voting bloc, it's a dead end. Tinubu's incumbency advantage is huge. Kingsley Ajayi says, now wow. So Jonathan is like that old player the coach calls back from retirement to save the match. Hope he's been training. Now, Blessing Etim says, if Jonathan comes back, I'll finally dust off my old transformation agenda t-shirt. And Ayo Folashadi says, politics in Nigeria is like Nollywood. No character ever truly leaves the movie. These are quite witty comments. Musa Lawal says, if he can unite the North and South, he stands a real chance, but he must start early and not wait until the last minute. Let me take this last. Ifeanyi Eze says, this is not about nostalgia. We must ask, what did he achieve the last time? Sentiment won't fix the economy. Okay, so BK, Jonathan's presidency carries baggage. Talk about accusations about governance, security lapses, and corruption scandals that opponents frequently cite. So, how much political damage from past controversies still sticks to Jonathan in voters' minds, and can messaging or time erase it? And that's on the one hand. And on the other hand, because of our time, I just wanted to take these two together. Political organizers want that a Jonathan comeback could split non-APC opposition votes. Talk about Labour Party, other Southern candidates. So could his entry actually help President Tinubu by fragmenting the anti-incumbent coalition? Two questions because of our time.
Yes, yes, he's coming into the race will help Tinubu as long as the opposition doesn't rally around a strong candidate. Tinubu will win the election just the same way he won that last time. I've said it before. I'm somebody who believes in crunching numbers. I don't believe in sentiments. If the opposition had been together in 2023, they will have recorded about 14 million votes. And with 14 million votes, to Tinubu's less than 9 million votes. That's a big landslide. That's a big landslide. The people talk about, oh, the election was rigged. Oh, it's the worst election in history. And all that people didn't see 1983 election. Talking about one election as being the worst in Nigerian history. What they failed to realize was that the reason Tinubu won that election was because some people left the PDP and decided to work against it. Look at Kwankwaso, for example, was in the PDP. They had their regional elections and all that, and over the choice of a vice president, Northwest, he first slighted and he left the party. Peter Obi felt that, oh, they appointed that he had been governor before, governor, he had been a PDP governor before. So, with a PDP, being a PDP governor, he felt that for the election in the state, the governorship election, and for the presidential election, he should have been seen as the leader of the party in the state. So they chose someone else to coordinate the election and rally everyone around him. That made him very angry and he left the party. If Peter Obi had not left the party, there is no way that the votes of the Southeast will not go to the PDP. They had always voted en masse for the PDP. So Peter Obi leaving that platform weakened the PDP, and the PDP did badly in the South is for the first time. The same way it did badly in Kano. In fact, the votes, the poor performance of the PDP in Kano was a big catalyst for Tinubu to leapfrog Atiku Abubakar because Tinubu got more than 400,000 votes over Atiku in Kano alone. There is nowhere in northern Nigeria where Tinubu performed as well as he did over former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. In other places, the margins were usually low and other. And in many states, look at the Northeast, for example. Atiku defeated Tinubu in the Northeast. He won 5 of those states. Tinubu was only able to win Borno State, despite the fact that they had the vice president, that despite the fact that the zone produced the vice president, the presidential candidate. So I still believe that if the opposition will rally around a candidate, I don't know how they intend to do it, especially a southern candidate. And when I say especially, I can say straight away that rallying around a southern candidate, guaranteeing that southern candidate the support of the North is one way to defeat the ruling party. So what I'm saying is a very strong candidate from southern Nigeria, if he gets the support of the North, and it's not going to be funny, it's not going to be easy for President Tinubu. So the other part of your question, um, what was the second part?
Yeah, the second part of the question is just a moment, please. Trying to sort some things here. Okay, the other part of the question is talking about Jonathan's baggage, accusations about governance, security lapses, and corruption scandal,
Okay,
including that of the
okay.
NNPC, financial scandal,
It's true.
security
It's true.
criticisms, and all of that. Yeah.
It's true. It's true. During his time, insecurity
So
first
I
during
want
his
to know
time.
whether this still sticks. Yeah, yeah. I want to know whether it still sticks, to Jonathan in voters' minds, or can
No, no, no,
messaging or time erase
no,
it?
no, no. let me tell you, let me confess to you, the voters, corruption is not a big factor. By the time we get to 2027, corruption may not even be a factor in the election at all. More and more Nigerians are concerned about their well-being. They are concerned about hunger. I can tell you that the most popular word in Nigeria today is the word hardship. Hardship, hunger, those two words, they are the most popular words in Nigeria today. If you campaign, you are promising people you build roads for them, you are promising people you fight corruption, people are not bothered. The economy is the first issue on people's minds, is the second issue on their minds, is the third issue on their minds. Today, even when the FCC talks about the convictions that he has secured and the mind-boggling money that people like the former CBN governor are being tried for, Nigerians are not bothered. Honestly, they don't really care. They're not bothered. They're not alarmed. It's like corruption no longer triggers the emotion of Nigerians. What they are concerned about is, look, rising food prices, the cost of living crisis, those are the things that bother people. And because that is the most dominant problem that we face now, people readily point to the Jonathan era when they didn't face this kind of hardship. You don't remember all of those stories of corruption and billions of dollars stolen through. I think it was the former CBN governor Sanusi that claimed that
I know Sila Middle.
twenty
Yeah.
billion dollars. He first said 50 something billion dollars. When he had to sit in front of Konjo Iweala, he could not defend the humongous figure that he was banding about. Later on, he reduced what he said to 20 billion. Somebody who was talking about more than 50 billion coming back to say, okay, it is actually 20 billion. And when the government even set up an audit panel by when they commissioned an audit team, Price Water Cooper, it was only $1.5 billion that they could not account for. So it will seem to people that the former CBN governor Sanusi lied big time. There was nobody could have stolen that kind of money, 50 something billion dollars, and then $20 billion. All of those things he couldn't prove in the Senate. They couldn't prove it. So, and I'm sure many Nigerians remember that when he had to confront Okojo Iweala, he could not prove that that kind of money was stolen. Well, Jonathan was demarketed all the same at that time. But I can tell you now that if you bring up the issue of corruption, Nigerians see politicians as basically the same thing. If you present yourself as just, oh, you do not steal this and that, that's not what many people are concerned. They are concerned about how do you solve the costs of living crisis that is going on. That is the big issue, of course, and insecurity. And insecurity is also a big factor because it ensures that people can access their farms and all that. So those are the big issues. The issue of corruption, not many Nigerians are bothered. How many people are alarmed whenever we read stories of houses that the former CBN governor, um, what's his name again? The immediate past,
Emefiele.
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 How many people are alarmed? We are not. We can't be shocked anymore. Nothing shocks us anymore as a people, especially when it comes to stealing. Stealing. We will
You have
just
been
tell ourselves,
overshocked the
yes.
warriors.
The people can recall what the former accountant general of the federation told the man that Muhammadu Buhari extended his tenure. Look at the kind of money. And he got to court and was saying that he made a confession because they promised him soft landing. Oh, he said it was that. So do you want to take back your confession now? Now that you can see that you are facing trial or what? You know, it's ridiculous. So issues of corruption, no, people will not hold that against Goodluck Jonathan this time around. I can tell you. I can tell you because one, some of those issues were not even conclusively proved. Where is the former
All right.
where is the former NSA today? The man is free. He's free. He's been walking around free. So and some of those issues, the theft of billions of naira meant to buy weapons. How many of those issues are still being discussed today? Nigerians have simply forgotten. They've moved on.
All right,
So
Vicky,
corruption
we're
is
out of
not
time.
so big. It's not so big an issue in our country now that you can now
That's
use
right.
against a candidate. People want to eat. People want the cost of living crisis addressed. And if you can promise people that you address and they can see clearly that you have what it takes to solve that problem, honestly, you are going to get their support.
All right, we'll see what happens, in the build up to the 2027 general election. That's our show
Yeah.
for today's edition of Issues with Jide. Special thanks to you, Baba Jide Falade Tutoji, for those insightful analyses as always.
Thank you, Ibrahim. Thank you, our esteemed viewers. We appreciate your loyalty, your patronage. And we'll be here again next week to do this um, together.
Right. Right. And thanks to you too, our audience, for keeping our company on every edition. You can see the program again anytime by subscribing to our YouTube channel, TVC News Nigeria. Click on the subscribe button to get the latest information. You can also follow us on our social media platforms at TVC News and G, and also at Ibrahim underscore Shita. On behalf of the rest of the team, I'm Ibrahim Shita. See you again next edition. Bye for now.